G'day out there on YouTube land. Welcome back to the Hex Stake show. I'm the Unwrecked Pirate. We've got day 43 and Blue Bum. How you going, boys? Back all around. Hope you boys are
very
busy.
well, thank you.
You've been streaming up a storm. There's been lots of really good streams in the last 7 days, including Richard Hart. He's streaming about, making sure that you are protecting your seed phrase and everything on your MetaMask and your other cryptocurrency. So that's what we're all about here. The best crypto, the Hex crypto. And we've got a really special guest joining us today, have we?
We do.
By the dick.
A friend of the show.
A long time
friend of the show.
From our humble beginnings back in the day. Last year.
Right.
I'll bring her up.
Can anyone guess? Can anyone in the chat?
Hi guys, they can see me now.
Hey, how you going?
Hello.
Hey, Nicole.
Hey guys, thanks for having me on.
You're welcome. It's a privilege.
Thanks for coming on.
No, I was like, it's been a really long time. It's been like a year, pretty much. Maybe like just short of a year.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah, for sure. It has been like so much has happened in this year, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
We're going to talk a little bit about that too, eh?
Yeah. So you mean like what has happened? So
no, I think so. I think we've got a few things we want to talk to you about for sure.
Okay.
You go. You want to?
So like the last time I was on, you were helping me like design because I couldn't figure out how to like have the bikini that said Hex on the top, and you were like, just cut the top off of the one piece, and that was like brilliant, right?
How did you go? And how did you go with that? How did you go to that?
Well, you know how it went because that was history.
Hey, day 43. You want to remind our audience of that? Have you got that? You wouldn't have that handy
sure.
Can you
pop it on full? Can you pop it on full screen, and we'll just remind the audience.
Okay, let's go. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, it's like really cringy.
It worked in the.
That was so good.
Did you get sound? Yeah, that was.
I got no sound there.
I got no sound either.
I didn't hear it.
That's weird. That's
weird.
Get into a really interesting
in the
rehearsal.
We kind of do need the sound, don't we?
Gotta have the sound.
We do need the sound. I'm gonna fix this. Just give me a second. I'm gonna jump out and I'll be back in.
So, Nerd Girl, you took fashion advice from Unwrecked.
Hey, mate.
Fashion advice?
Yeah.
Oh, look at this.
That's a cool shirt. Yeah. I mean, I feel like he has his own thing going on, right? Like, it's kind of hard to give someone fashion advice when they've got their own, a style that's all theirs.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
It's very hard to describe Unwrecked style. It's just Unwrecked.
It's just like, yeah, you're just you, right? So, like, how can I give you advice on how to be more you?
Yeah.
Precisely.
Well, your show's been going fantastically. You've been getting a lot of people on and getting some really good audiences. How have you seen how it's gone? And like, where do you see it kind of heading in? What direction do you see it heading in the future?
Well, I definitely need to come up with a like more structured approach because right now it's just kind of like I'm like just completely freestyling, like based off of the guest and what works for them. And like getting a little bit more structure would probably be good for the audience, like kind of setting up like segments and trying to like stick to them at least somewhat. That's something that I'm kind of working on. But like I said, like when there's a big name guest or something, like I just just am like completely winging it. And I don't know how much I can change that without like really changing, because like that's what makes me relatable to people, is that like I can adapt to them, but I'm trying to figure out how I can incorporate some more structure. Do you guys have any ideas?
I think what you're doing is fantastic. I think it looks like you've got a really good network, and you've been really working on your networks for quite a while. So you're getting some really interesting people on. I think that you'll probably do you watch back your interviews?
No, I can't. I can't do it.
I think even though it's hard, I think that you'll probably learn a lot from watching yourself back on them. But I guess from my point of view, is I really like the informational content. So if anything, I think exploring more kind of like with that last interview, you could have gone for an hour, I thought. And
yeah, I could have. You're right.
And what I was really interested in with that particular guy was like what classifications they have decided are the classifications, and then how the AI decides how to weight them. And I thought that could have been the kind of...
Yeah, definitely. And, I think some of that, I was thinking that, like, it would be good for other members of the community to reach out to him and, like, have him, because he was, like, really open to talking to anybody who wants to, reach out to him. And, I think that would be really cool to see different people ask different sets of questions, especially because, like, I know that, one of the conversations that we were kind of having, like, before the show started was that some people felt like he was like shilling his token. And I was saying that I really like when you have someone on the show and you're really like using them to talk positively about your project and like shilling them, for us, like Hex, right? And like it's just kind of like a reciprocity thing where you let them share their piece. And like, I don't think that there should be a problem with that. And specifically, if I listed Hex on their platform and they're open to incorporating nomics instead of CMC data, it's just that they had never heard of that before. So like working together, really all benefit from that.
Quite interesting. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. How are you, Nergo? I don't think we've ever been on a stream together. So
hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to be here. That was a cracker, that interview you done there, and it was just the way you led it down the path of explaining how Hart's law, as it's being come to known, works, was really good. And you're getting a verified person, so someone that's an expert in that field, to just verify what Richard is going on about is fact. And hopefully that will, I guess, broaden other people's views that aren't part of Hex or Pulse, but watch this guy and see what's going on. And I think that's what it's all about. You're doing everything right, getting the awareness out there, and there's no point staying in the Hex Pulse echo chamber. You've got to get out and speak to these people. And if that means letting them chill a little bit.
Yeah.
We're all adults. We can listen to information and not be coerced into doing something we don't want to do. And this is information.
This is also in the context of like pulsechain. I mean, if pulsechain is going to be successful, we really have to be open-minded to all the other ERC20s that could come across as PRC20s. So, I mean, it's a good frame of mind to be getting into. Just being a little
absolutely.
Bit, we can still love and cherish our Hex. There's nothing wrong with that, and we can
You
still
can even be Hex maximalists if you want to with your own money. I don't even have an issue with that. But it's like when you try to like impose the maximalism on what other people do, that like that's when it gets not you, but sometimes.
Yeah.
That's when it gets too much.
Yeah.
You're not going to please everyone all the time, and that's life, isn't it? But like I would say that you're like within the theme of building bridges, you are branching outside of that echo chamber. So, and look, I'll tell you what, the one that really impressed me recently was the one that you did with Brock Pierce. He really, really impressed me. and I really enjoyed that conversation that you had there on that show. So we've had a little bit of a walk down memory lane. Let's going back to the TikTok. What else has Nerdblog done in the Hex community since then?
Can we see if we can get some audio on that? Because the audio is like half the joy of that.
It makes it. You rewrote the.
Aww. Have fun staying poor. Hex is designed to increase 10,000%. Pumpamentals. Audited. Where does the ETH go? Number go up is the only thing that matters in crypto. Richard Hart is a Hex. Bull. Stake it till you make it. Add Hex to page 1. Longer pays better, faster, stronger. Don't miss out on big payday.
Oh my God.
I love it.
Oh, we love it. We love that. That was gold.
How do you feel watching yourself each time that comes on?
Super cringe.
Oh no.
Takes a bit of courage to get up and do that.
The ticker.
Absolutely.
It was
Good work.
definitely fun. It was fun to do.
Cool.
So we made a list of things that and I know the list is longer, and but we made a short list of things that we've seen that you've done in the community over the last year or so. One of them was that TikTok promotion, which I think I think the community absolutely loved that. We still love it. You've done the you created the Building Bridges show,
which is ongoing.
On
the Discord Syndicate Network, which we're streaming on as well. We've got a slot on the Discord Syndicate Network, which is obviously raising the awareness of Hex crypto and so forth. That's what we sort of started out about, and telling the truth about how good Hex is, and making sure that we're just we're putting the we're telling the story about Hex, and we're doing it on a bigger platform now with Discourse.
Yeah.
Anyway.
When is your show, Nerd Girl? When is that show, Building Bridges?
So I stream 2 times a week. I stream Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. Pacific, and then Wednesday evenings I took over RG's Discourse Syndicate slot, so Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Pacific.
And they're both building bridges?
Yeah, they're both building bridges, but it happens often where either someone has to cancel last minute, or I didn't, have tons of time that week to find the perfect guest. So I just kind of go on and talk and answer questions. But I do try to find guests, and it is getting easier.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
So for people that don't know, you've obviously got a little bit of history in the space. You've made a lot of really great connections. How long you've been around, and where are you pulling all those connections from?
Yeah, sure. So I started working in cryptocurrency. Well, I started finding freelance work in cryptocurrency in 2018, just as a content writer and a journalist. And then I started as a full-time journalist in 2019, and I was working for a crypto media outlet. And I started going around and conducting interviews and asking questions to people who had the questions that I wanted the answers to, because my background was in religious studies. So I was kind of tracing the evolution of tribalism in its cryptocurrency manifestations. And I don't know, it was really interesting. I was the only person who was looking at cryptocurrency through that academic lens at the time. And that's where I started to build relationships. And I think that because I always approached it like that, I really never people from all different tribes, at least years ago, would talk to me. Now there are people who will not. But
very polarizing. Why is Hex so polarizing, do you think?
Well, I think that it's a bunch of reasons. So Bitcoin itself is really polarizing. If you look at, look at just look at how, toxic portions of like Bitcoin maximalism have become, and like that didn't stem from nowhere. And that came because Bitcoin very much was like seen by everyone in the outside financial world as a scam and called that repeatedly. And like that, it's like very the same, yeah.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
You did a really fantastic interview with Roger Ver. And during that interview, you asked him about whether he thought that any of the intelligence agencies had been in the world and whether they'd had any effect on all the shenanigans that have gone on. And he was just like, you could see he had a ton of stories. And I was just wondering, have you heard any? If there any? Yeah. What stories have you heard about those intelligence agencies and their influence on the crypto world?
Well, so there's all kinds of theories. Different people are, absolutely certain that their version of what happened is what really happened. And I think that it's probably like some kind of amalgam of things, and that some things are loosely related, but we're seeing them as more closely correlated. So like, you know what I mean? Like, cause there's definitely like Satoshi Nakamoto, like name has, there's all kinds of symbolism that's like something was going on here, And then there's the early Bitcoiner guys who were all living in the same town in California and like working on something that they're not allowed to tell you what it was they're working on. And these are all things that are glossed over.
Okay. Everyone loves a good conspiracy theory, don't they?
Yeah.
Actually, there was that one guy who I can't remember his name, but he was supposedly like he's one of the people that supposedly people think is Satoshi.
Dorian Nakamoto?
He was the guy who was into organized crime, and then he's been put in jail kind of.
Oh yeah. Salachi, Paul Salachi, but that's not his real name. But
can you tell us the story behind him? That guy, because he's got an interesting story, doesn't he? And what have you found out about him?
Yeah, so he, from what I understand, is in Supermax, Supermax prison, and it's because Paul LaRue. There it is. Yeah, I was like typing in Paul Salachi. I don't know why that's the name that sticks in my mind instead of Paul, but whatever. So yeah, from what I understand, he is in Supermax prison, and like the charges that are kind of alleged against him are mostly related to drugs and like, importing drugs. But like, I mean, drugs can be a serious offense depending on who you ask, right? But like, do we put people in Supermax because of them? Like, how does that make sense?
Seems to be that way in America. Like a lot of the, I know there's more people incarcerated in America. That's what I don't know if that's a fact or that's a statistic that is promoted. And it's a lot of them are. It's all sort of seems to be drug-related offences.
Yeah, but that wasn't a Bitcoin. He's not in prison over the Bitcoin side of things or the crypto side of things.
Right. It's even just a rumor that he is, that he is Satoshi. But there are people who believe that, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, don't know.
But there are also people. There are also people who legitimately believe, and you need to know this. There are also people who legitimately believe that Hal Finney, who is cryogenically frozen, is the Messiah, and that like Bitcoin is the second coming of Christ. Like, I'm not kidding. There are really people who believe this.
Hey, can we just go back to this comment for a second, please? I just find it interesting. Hit the like for the algo. You can hit the like if you actually like us as well. It doesn't have to just be for the algo, guys. So just
thumbs up, thumbs down would help as well. Any sort of interaction would help. We'll take anything. Yeah. Two fingers up. We don't care.
Yeah.
We've got a couple more people jumping on. We've got the lovely Sammy Chica.
Hello,
and we
Sammy.
have
Sammy.
our compadre
that's
Tangent.
Sorry I'm late, guys. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Sure. All good.
Mate, loud and
Yes,
clear.
we can.
Perfect.
Righto.
So
Hey,
have we-
How is everyone?
Sorry. Going
yeah,
well.
real good.
No, Gil,
Nice.
have we got any scoops on who's coming up next? Anyone that we should all look out for on your building
On my
bridges show?
stream, I don't have anything to tell you guys right now. So I'm like trying to get. Oh, it's dark. Yeah, I know. It's the middle of the night here. So I'm trying to get Kirk Workhart Jr., who came on the stream before. He's a Bitcoin historian. He he's a really big BSV proponent, and he's, like I said, he's been on before. He's been one of my favorite guests just because he's like a really great sport and tells a good story. And I think it would be really useful to have him on for telling the Bitcoin history, because the last time he came on, we just kind of like, I don't know, talked, so he's going to be coming back on soon. We've been booked, but then he had to reschedule. And yeah, so that will be sometime within the next couple of weeks. And then I've got a couple of other things that I'm working on, but nothing I can announce certainly yet.
If we can just quickly, I just want to go through the rest of the list.
We go through this list here.
And then we can. You also interviewed Richard Hart, which I think is a real feather in your cap. Not many people get a chance to do that. And from someone that's inside the community, I can only think of like 2 or 3 other people who have done that in the community. So props to you for that.
There's a bit of a spin-off story on that one as well. That interview got hijacked, remember? That was a bit
the
of
first
a
one did, and then you eventually got it back.
Yeah, wow. It's like a trip down memory lane, isn't it?
You also rewrote or edited the Hex Layman's Guide.
I did.
How did you go with that? How was that received, and did you consult with Kyle on that?
Okay, so I tried to reach out to Kyle, but I think that was before he was in the Cutthroats, and we had never talked.
He was there. He was originally he was there. He was one of the OGs in the Cutthroats.
Okay, maybe I just wasn't really active at the time.
Yeah.
But,
that's right.
So we had never really talked. I tried to reach out to him, but he didn't respond. So I just I had asked. I was like, "Hey, Richard, this needs to be done because there's all of this like extra information." And he was like, "Oh yeah, I'll put that on my list." And I was like, "Well, I'll just do it." So I did it, and I like cut some stuff out, and then I added some names of community members in the example.
That's the way things get done in Hex, isn't it? You just got to roll up your sleeves and do it.
Do it yourself, yeah.
Yep. The thing I liked about the Brock Pierce interview was it was good to see. So, and hopefully this is going to happen to Hexicans as well, is you get in, you do pretty well from a monetary side being in crypto, and then you actually can turn your attention to bigger and better things. And it seems like he's less focused on the crypto side of things and more about affecting change in the world. I think when you get that FU money behind you, then that is going to free a lot of people up to start pursuing things that are bigger than themselves. And that's what I really want to see what comes out of the Hex community is because there's a range of different people in our community. They're all different points of view and different characters. And I think in years to come, it's going to be interesting to see the journeys that people go on and what effect they can have in the world. So that's what I'm really looking forward to, is those future years when everyone's in a position to worry about
whatever they want.
It's exciting. Be the change that you want to see in the world. You know,
that's right. Yeah.
I was going to ask you, Nicole, because you did had a YouTube channel with Seth Mendoza.
Not Seth Mendoza, Seth Estrada.
Oh, sorry, I didn't pronounce it right. But he's a really great guy, and I don't know him very well, and I've watched him on YouTube a few times. But I don't know, he put something along those lines, Dexa, that there's bigger things than just like Lambos and mansions, and if you do be fortunate enough to become wealthy, like what do you want to actually what legacy do you want to actually leave? What do you want to pass on to the next generation type thing? And it's that sort of it's a mindset or a way of thinking which really impressed me. I just saw a tweet that he put on Twitter, and so, and are you still in contact with him, still friends with him, or still talk to him?
Sure. He came on the night that the sacrifice went live, before the sacrifice went live. He was on my stream, and he was on for like 3 hours. We actually had not talked since the last time that I was on his show, and then we just that day I was like, my guest canceled, and I was like, hey, you want to jump on this stream with me tonight? And but that was it was good to talk to him, because he's definitely has a super depth of understanding of the field. It's amazing.
It was awesome when we were sort of like hatching a plan over here on Discord Syndicate to go over and sort of get the story was that you were big into Ethereum, and we went over there and we sort of got you onto the Discord Syndicate, or Captain RG3 and that, and Seth was there, and it was kind of interesting. It was almost like a clash of cultures. I found it, as an observer, I found that quite interesting, because I was a complete noob at that stage, and so I was learning I was just a sponge at the time, and it was just interesting. And I guess the certain people resonate with you in the course of learning, or the journey, the crypto journey, so to speak. So but I'm impressed by a lot of people in Hex, that's for sure, and I'm impressed by Seth as well. Yeah,
I agree. Seth's very impressive. Mm-hmm.
We've got a few questions popping up there in chat. I don't know if we want to have a look at a few of those.
Let's have a look.
What do we got? How are we going, day 43? We read through the list. I mean, are we going to say
we haven't quite finished that list. We got the last one that we had that I thought you are one of the positive role models for women in crypto. There's not many women in crypto. So having positive role models in crypto for women is, I think, important, because we need more. We need more,
and that's how our show started. It's a huge potential market. Like, it's 50% of the population, and when you come into crypto, it's like male dominated. Or what would you call it? Like, it's male dominated space, and then so we need to bring more women in, for sure, and empower women and financial freedom, and that's what Hex is about,
I think it's really cool though. Hex does have a lot of women for it being like a relatively small community. It feels like there's not a lot of us, and there aren't. It's not even, but for a crypto community, there are actually a lot.
We claim it,
and more and more every day.
Yep.
I always see, and there's so many new Hexicans in general. Like, I reckon over 20 or 30 new follows the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of people, popping up with Hex in their name, or sending me messages from old accounts. Like, I thought that this was totally a scam, but then I didn't delete you, and now I finally bought Hex, and you're right. And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome.
And the women in Hex stand up, and they don't take any shit, and they're fierce as hell on Twitter and in the Telegram chats as well.
And we sort of
great.
Especially Sammy.
Sammy, some of the stuff you put on Twitter, you crack me up.
I have a lot of fun on Twitter. It's all about having fun and being.
I have fun on Twitter. Yeah.
Yeah, you do. You have heaps of fun, and we have fun. Me and Good Girl and some other chicks talk quite often. So
we have private women's groups.
It's always a lot of fun.
Yeah,
good stuff.
It is. Did I read this, guys? I should have.
Tangent. How you going, mate? You've just been sitting quietly there in the corner.
All good. I'm the one interrupting, so you guys just go for it.
I thought we could. We've got a question, but once we have that question, I thought maybe we could have like a 5-minute TA interlude where you can maybe tell us what's going on with the chart.
Yeah, sure.
So where's this question, guys? Here we go.
Ash with the question. Where did that go?
There.
Hey guys, what will happen
So
to
what do
the
you
price
reckon?
of
What do you reckon
eHex?
will happen to the?
I'll just read the question.
What do you reckon?
So we know, and this is funny, I was having a conversation about this with someone outside of the community today. We know that someone has acted like a market maker to protect Hex's price, right? Like we've seen it under massive pressure and not drop the way that other assets do. And that's because we have someone or something that's acting like a market maker. And I'm like, we know that Richard will defend the price of Hex, and he has said that he will defend that he doesn't want to see cheap Hex anywhere. So like I don't think that we're going to see like perfect parity all the time, especially right away, but I think that Pulse's, P Hex will be defended to the same degree that, E Hex has always been.
Yeah, so I don't know whether Richard per se has actually come in and defended price or anything like that, from what I can tell, and you can see most of this stuff on chain. What we do see is we see liquidity come in at pivotal points, and you can see the big magic carpet at the 5 cent mark at the moment on Uniswap. So it's not directly.
Can we bring that up?
Are
Just
you
a
able
quick
to do
shout
that?
out to the super chat. Thanks,
Yep.
Hex Machine, for that. He's ready to listen to us numpties for another 550, another 555 days. Hey, calls us numpties, but gives us a tip. It's like
Good work. So
nice one. Thanks for that.
Yeah, so I guess what we see is we see actions take place that aren't trying to manipulate price, but put in protections that you would expect any project to do, like having liquidity. And what else have we seen? Like when events happen, like big payday, actions happen that protect the network.
Yeah.
And similar to what we've seen in the Pulse sacrifice, there's a reason why what happened. We're seeing the same mechanics play out and the same approach, and it's not a bad thing. It's funny. I find a double standard. So if a project had literally put in the rules, whatever we get from, let's say they do some sort of similar launch where people have to send in ETH to get tokens, and they made the statement, whatever ETH we get, we're going to go and market buy our own coin. People would love that shit, and they'd be all over it and want to get in there because they know it's going to be price positive. And yet you don't say you're going to do that, and even if you did, and I'm not saying Richard did or the OA did, that would be somehow they twist that into a negative. Like it seems to be a real double standard. Or if
1,000,000%.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like if someone actually advertised that that's what they were going to do, then yeah, they'd be all over it. Same with the other rip-off token. They advertised they would take all the ETH and put it as liquidity. We've done, well, what appears to be happening is the same thing. There's this underlying support there, but without it having to be said. So I don't know, it just seems to be a double standard in the space.
This is it's really interesting. So I was saying, I had a conversation with a friend of mine who's a VC earlier today, and he has been for the last 15 months we've been fighting about whether Hex was a scam, and he's called it a Ponzi. And then today I'm like, oh, remember when you said the last time you said that Hex was a Ponzi? Oh no, I didn't say that it was a Ponzi. So then I actually found the message where he said it's a Ponzi and sent it to him, and I was like, you did. And then he said, so since we last talked, I've become very well versed in Hex, and I understand exactly what it is, and I probably understand it better than you. And I was like, okay. But so I was like, okay, but you know that I've been kind of studying for 2 years, right? And he's like, yeah, but time means nothing. And then I said, oh, so time means, you're telling me time means nothing in the same sentence as I understand Hex?
Yeah.
And the whole thing was over,
Nice.
Oh man!
Wow.
I think you win that argument.
like that was the end. It was like, I won. You're an idiot. You know, like.
So has he done a full 180 on it? Has he?
No,
not quite there yet.
Yeah, no, he hasn't. He's like, he keeps getting stuck on the like, Richard owns such so much of the supply, and like I was like, this is like kind of why I really am proud of the interview that I did on Saturday with the liquidity expert, because not only did we get into analyzing the Hart's law thesis, but we also discussed how centralized ownership of an asset can be a really positive thing for holding the asset's price up. And like that was not planned. That just happened. That like just kind of came up naturally in the course of that conversation.
And he did not even bat. He did not even bat an eyelid in agreeing with you on that point.
Nope, not at all.
So what I wanted to find out was he actually aware of Hex or the mechanics of Hex before that interview?
No. So okay, when Bruce, who has been on my show before, asked me to like make Evae videos and like do a couple of little things, like help them behind the scenes a little bit too. I said originally, I was like, I will trade you, but I can't take money. I'll like exchange network with you, because I wanted access to Bruce's network of people, because he's been, around in the space for a long time. And he agreed. And one of the terms of our terms and conditions was that if I list Hex on their aggregator site. So like they've got several assets that they track, and I wanted them to put Hex on their list of assets that they track. So when they did that, which was shortly after I started helping out, that is when the liquidity expert started watching Hex, because it was on their chart.
Yeah.
Well
cool.
done.
It'd be good if they go over to nomics. It'd be good if they switch over to nomics too.
Yeah.
Slowly but surely, everyone goes over to nomics.
Yeah, no, he was
the correct data.
They were really open to, receiving that criticism and potentially incorporating that. I'll have to follow up on that this week.
Yeah, it didn't sound like he actually knew what nomics was on.
No, he didn't, but I explained it, and he was like, "Oh, yeah, if you guys think it's more accurate data, we'll look into it."
Yeah, did you follow up with him because the impression I got was he didn't quite. You said nomics once, and I don't know whether he actually realized that it was nomics.com or what they do, or did you follow up with him on that at all?
Yes, I want to follow up again now, but I did send him a link to the website in our WhatsApp chat.
Yeah, awesome. Yep. Yeah, no, that was fantastic. As soon as I finished watching that, I put it in our chat. I said, "This is a must-watch. You've got to see this one." It was a cracker.
Oh yeah, that was really awesome. Thank you. I really thought that was great. It was really cool to talk to someone who was outside, coming from outside and didn't have those like inherent, Yep.
So we've got a question from Devon C. Can you guys talk about why Hex is so secure as far as my money being safe in the contract? I know about the audits, but any other points? I'll be onboarding like 10 people tonight. That's an interesting one.
Slots.
Well, I mean, what's interesting is that your Hex doesn't actually get locked into the contract per se. Your Hex gets burnt, and you get T-shares allocated to you in the contract. So as far as the security goes and the audits, you can read the security audits, can't you?
Yeah. Yep. I think I'm not sure if all of them were available or not. There was one. Oh no, I think there was just some follow up that wasn't done on the Coin Fabric one or something. But I think they're all around. I think the biggest proof in the pudding is been up and running for 18 months. If like the amount of heat that Hex has copped, I am sure people have probably looked over to see if there's anything going on and see if they could somehow exploit it. And it has been rock solid. Yep. If there is that much, there would be a big.
It's like a bounty.
It would be
true innovation. It's a honeypot.
But if some
game changer.
Yeah, because Richard's out there saying how strong it is and 100% uptime. And look, that would have been a real honeypot for someone to have a crack at, just for bragging rights alone. So,
but also the value of the audits too. I mean, like you see some coins that have the audits. They don't hold water because they don't know what they're auditing. But this, I mean, this has been done. This has been done really like properly and thoroughly and to the granular level of detail. And
and it doesn't have admin keys
as well.
Yeah.
Because Hex is relatively simple compared to what other DeFi projects are trying to achieve. So there's more capacity for there to be bugs that were unexpected or missed during audits.
Mm-hmm. Well, so another big thing.
No admin keys. No admin keys.
I reckon one of the biggest things as well is the composability that all these other smart contracts have. So they're all linking into each other through all the different pools and different things that they do within their own protocols, but they cross between protocols as well, between smart contracts. And they all have a reliance upon oracles. And Hex does have no reliance upon an oracle at all, and that can't be underestimated. If an oracle cocks up, that can take down half of DeFi.
You could almost say that Hex is a true oracle.
So I have something to kind of share about, like, speaking to the strengths of Hex. So you guys know, like, I work for a cryptocurrency marketing company, and what's really interesting is to see how other DeFi projects are like taking on characteristics of Hex, or like, you know, things that are like, yeah, you got that from Hex, you got that idea from Hex, and like really not admitting it either. Like even to the extent where, like, I will point something out in a video that's like, so, you know, a Hexicans video, like, okay, you have to watch, you know, this explanation of, you know, so I was like, this recently was like, look, you have to watch this explanation of why it's useful to tie liquidity to a stable coin instead of Bitcoin, and then understand, and then like, be like, no, but that's not how it works. And I'm like, listen, it was a liquidity expert, so watch it and then argue with me. And like, you know, go, and then they'll come back and be like, yeah, we need to tie the liquidity of the token to USD. And like, they're like, oh, but we're gonna do this because like that's what like Aave and Comp. I'm like, no, that's not why you're gonna do it. You're gonna do it because that's what Hex did, and you're just like, but it happens, and that's not the only example of that. I mean, like, I see it every day.
Yep. The need for security audits, I think Hex set the benchmark for that, and then it became an expectation for even the clones that tried to copy. They all had to go and get the audits and all that sort of stuff. And I think, just going back to that other guy's question about why Hex is so good, is the developers that actually wrote the Hex contract were teaching the auditors a few things. So they were back. This is coming from back in Telegram chats. Back in the beginning, we were talking about this, and the developer, the Hex developer, was running rings around them. So it's,
look, and not having admin keys also means that you, as a developer, as someone who's producing code, have such confidence in what you're putting out there that you don't need to go back later on and change it. You have confidence in what you're doing. You know what you're doing. And you have enough confidence to say, well, we don't need to have that get out of jail free card, which what ends up happening in crypto is people use that get out of jail free card to scam people and rug pull people. So having that that as a core element of the Hex contract is very reassuring for people who you know, like the idea of decentralized finance. Should we do a little bit of TA with a 5-minute interlude?
Yeah, sure. It won't even take 5 minutes. We can do it quicker than that.
Righto.
If you want to, yeah, so cool. So this is the liquidity chart or plot, and this is actually the first time I've ever seen us having a buy wall and a sell wall, that the price is sort of between these two walls. So we've got a buy wall above at about 18.4 cents, and we're currently sort of inside this wall that was at 17.8. And then there's another little wall here. And then obviously there's this wall down here at 5.4 cents that just has not moved. It's just an absolute monster, and it has been there for probably weeks now. So that's quite interesting. I mean, this makes everything else look small, but this is actually quite a bit of liquidity in this. And I always like it when it's a nice sort of bell curve distribution for the liquidity. I think that's good. So that's all looking sweet. We've got this chart over here, which is Hex versus USDC. And I literally just noticed just then, I had this box drawn here that I had drawn off the hourly candles, providing support and resistance. And then as I was cleaning up the chart for this stream, I pulled my fib retracement tool over and realized that that box that I had drawn is actually in line with one of the fib levels. So it's the fib level that was actually on the previous all-time high daily candle close. So, and I actually didn't realize that at the time. I was just boxing it out based on the price action locally around this time. So, I mean, I'm always bullish on Hex, but here we're bullish because we're near all-time highs, and you know that when you break all-time highs, that's bullish as hell. That's when I'm most bullish, and we're within we're probably within 10%. Let's check. So we're 7.5% below breaking all-time highs, so to go to a new all-time high. And from a fib extension level point of view, by the way, this yellow line is just, it was sort of like joking moon path stuff that didn't actually happen yet. This could still happen, but the next fib level is at 22.7 cents. So basically, I think, obviously we've got some minor resistance above us, but I think we could quite easily break free of this, and then the next significant resistance above, once we're in free air, is 22.7 cents, which is huge. What do you guys think?
I need 26 cents. 26 cents by the end of August.
22.6.
Yeah, but you wrote it down. Remember, you asked for a prediction.
Oh yeah. Do you want me to pull up? What everyone's guesses were?
How long do we have for that?
Yeah, pull it up.
I'll try and find them.
So when were we doing these guesses for? That was for.
Oh, I hope I wrote it in the document.
Wasn't it?
You didn't put any time. I was the only one that had a time frame. I said 26 to 32 cents by the end of August, but I don't think I'm going to get it. I've just based on what you just said, but yeah.
Well, you might.
So if you share my screen again, the deal was it was Hex Price. It was what price could Hex achieve before the Pulse mainnet launch. So we've actually still got at least a month now, because the testnet hasn't even launched yet. So we've got over a month at least. And these were everyone's guesses. So
can you make 30, the font? Can you blow up the font on that, mate?
Sorry?
Can you increase the font size? Just go to format.
One sec. Yeah, good point. Sorry about that. I didn't even know. Oh, whoa. I didn't even know you could change the font size in this because it's such a rudimentary. There we go. Is that better?
Yep.
Yeah, that's good.
So this was the price at the time that we were making the guesses. So the price was 13.6 cents, and these were the guesses for what we could achieve before the launch of Pulse mainnet.
Yeah.
$1.40. Let's go for that one.
A comment that I made at one point was when it becomes a competition of who is the biggest moon boy. It's just a competition that you can't win that competition, because someone will go, Bitcoin to 100K, and then someone will go Bitcoin to 150K, Bitcoin 500K, Bitcoin 1 million, Bitcoin 10 million. Like you can just keep ramping it up. You know what I mean? So it's always easiest to be the most moonish.
So we had a question. We had a question in the chat from Ash. If I can find it, where is it? Yeah. Will pulsechain have its own Uniswap, and who will run it? Anyone want to have a go at that?
I've just done a
Jexa?
2-hour session with 200 hexagons a moment ago. So we covered all of this. We covered pancake swap and everything. So a big shout out to the DWG crew. I know a few of those guys have come across to watch this stream now.
Yep, so Uniswap's a contract.
Yeah, so Uniswap is a contract. So version 1 already, so there's 3 versions of Uniswap, V1, V2, V3. The main one that's getting attention at the moment is a cross between V2 and V3. They'll all come across. V1 and V2 don't really have any admin keys or any licensing issues. V3 is licensed software at the moment. So they'll all come across and they'll all work. Whether or not the team will come across and support them on pulsechain is yet to be decided. Regardless if they do or they don't, V1 and V2 can be forked as many times as you like. That's what Pancake Swap done. They forked V2. Sorry, I think they started with V1 and then they forked V2 as well onto the Binance Smart Chain, and that is doing massive volume over there. Nothing to stop the Pulse development team forking V2 onto Pulse and running their own decks as well.
Hexa, did you manage to read that Medium article which was describing the different rewards?
Yeah, I had a quick look at that. So this was using options. So the big issue, and I think I discussed this once before, is so you want to encourage people to put liquidity on the dexes. So let's just say you've got a pair, and let's say it's Hex and USDC. So you get people to deposit their Hex and USDC into the liquidity pool, and they get paid a fee when people trade, so 0.3%, depending on how much liquidity you hold as part of that pool. And that's okay, but then what they do is to encourage people to keep their liquidity in the pool. They then allow them to take the liquidity tokens they get and yield farm them. And generally the way that works is you get given a secondary token, and it's usually it's a governance type token is the way they brand it, is you get given this governance token for free and it can go up in value. So it starts off as free and it goes up in value. Now the problem with you getting it for free essentially, and therefore you haven't paid anything for it. So there's no downside to you selling it at any price. So what happens is you see these tokens run up pretty hard, but then you see them dump just as hard because people offload this shit. And when they do, they offload big because there's no cost base for them. Yeah. So it turns into a pump and dump. And some of them survive really well, but they're pretty volatile things initially because these yield farmers, they get the yield, they sell off the tokens, and then they move on to the next pool and do the next same thing. So how do you fix that? And so this article by Andre Konjev was about using options instead of giving them outright governance tokens. Now, I don't know the specific mechanics around it, but what it's about doing is, I guess, tying them into the pool for longer. And I haven't gone into it enough to understand the mechanics.
That's where I got up to as well. Did you understand it, Nerd Girl? Did you read that article, that Andre Cronje article?
No, I didn't. Sorry.
It's worth a read. It's good.
It's turning these liquidity rewards into like call options. So you get it
that link
at a 50% discount or something, and you've got like a month to get it at that 50% discount. But
is it in our chat?
Yeah, I'll dig it up while you guys chat.
I think it's pretty complicated, so we'll need to, like, just us looking at it.
But we'll throw it in the it's good
in
the YouTube chat so people can read it if they want to.
Yeah.
If I can find it.
It's all right if I ask Nerd Girl a question.
Okay. I love your bed, Sammy.
Oh, thank you. It's nice and warm in here. You know, it's our winter, so I come in here during the winter. And you're looking beautiful tonight, Nerd Girl. It must be warm over there, is it?
It is, yeah. It's still summer here.
Beautiful. Are you in lockdown over there?
No.
No, that's good.
No, I live in a Republican state, so our restrictions were far fewer than most places.
Oh, that's fantastic. And you're doing the marketing at the moment. Are you still working overnight? Because I know you were working during the night. You're still doing that because I know you were wrecked.
Yeah, I am still like sometimes not like normal emotionally because of how weird it is to like start working at midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning and then work until 12 or 1 the next day. It like just is weird. It's definitely unusual.
So how many hours you do in a week?
So like I usually bill for like 30 hours a week, but I would say that I probably work, and then because I also do just like Telegram moderating, and like that doesn't get counted as hours. So I think that I probably work 40, 50 hours a week.
Wow. And the streaming on top of that as well.
Yep.
And being a mum as well.
Yep.
Wow, amazing. And what time are you now?
What?
What time do you have now?
It's 6:30 in the morning.
Oh, wow. So you're like in the middle of your day.
Best time of the day.
Kind of, but like actually, so we're trying to start to implement like where we have like rotating days off and stuff, because it's been lately like where we just like you work 7 days a week and like we're like, oh, this is going to be really unhealthy for us. Like we need to start figuring out a way so that people can take days off. And we've been just kind of doing it based on need, and I'm like on the brink of exhaustion.
Poor thing. You work so hard. You do so much. We love you, nerd girl, and really appreciate all your hard work.
Don't burn out. Yeah, that's it. You got to balance life work balance is important, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really hard to get it right.
Indeed.
So are we gonna look at this article, this liquidity mining rewards?
Yeah, I can bring it up.
No, I'm looking at it right now.
So were you talking about a fourth coin before? You're saying double. Are you talking about the fourth coin they're going to involve in the liquidity for Pulse?
Yeah, so there was talk about having another coin that you introduced for the liquidity rewards. Now, how it's going to look on Pulse is still very much up in the air, and everyone's had a lot of chats about that in some of the Telegram groups. But this was an interesting way of doing it, where if you can introduce that governance coin that isn't just going to be a pump and dump sort of thing, it's got to be a good thing. Now, I don't think it's actually been done in practice anywhere, so you'd be trialing it out, but I don't think there's any real risk because it's a free token you're giving out.
It's just pure speculation coin, hey?
Yeah. I mean, they're all done under the guise of governance tokens and all that, and yeah, it's just a crock, to be honest.
All of crypto is a pure speculation. They're all pure speculation coins. So why not?
Yeah, for sure. Based on like how much the people who support the token believe in it.
I mean, we witnessed that on the Matic network as well. So Nerd, you'll be really across all of this. QuickSwap went, so the Quick token, which is still currently getting mined, I do believe, or getting farmed.
It is. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the chart I was looking at today, it ran up from $140 per Quick, ran up to a top of 1,500, and then got smashed straight back down to 100 again. Like it's that volatile.
It is very, very volatile. It's up significantly like right now, but it is very, very volatile and very, very like you can see it like on an emotional spectrum how it's going to behave next, because it has moods.
Yep. So is that on that platform? Is it a governance token? Is that what the issue is?
It is. It's a governance token. It has a couple of utilities. You can stake it. You can use it for governance votes, and you can provide liquidity.
Okay, so you said something interesting there, the staking side of it. So how does that work?
So it's liquid staking. So it's like you don't have your tokens in lockup. You just stake them, and then you can unstake them at any time with no penalty.
Yeah. So this is what I find
is like they're looking at different ways to make Quick more sticky, and one option that is being explored now is the possibility for time locks. And because there is another DEX on Polygon that uses time locks, and you choose your time lock. Like there's a couple of different options. It's not like Hex where you can like set any time that you want. It's like there's a couple of specific times that you can choose. But like it was really funny when the topic of time locks came up in reference to, because I was like, oh really? Where'd you get that idea from?
Well, it's a
like,
flattery.
Like the actual audacity is to say, oh, DFIN. And I'm like, and where did DFIN get it from?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is what I find funny is, and it goes back to, I want to cover two things here. So firstly, the complexity of all these systems. Like Hex is just simple. It does what it does. It's not part of a governance token and a part of this and a part of that. It's just a store of value time deposit. What I find more interesting though is, so you've got to put funds into a liquidity pool, get these LP tokens, which you then farm to get a governance token, which now you can stake. Like they keep adding another layer on top of this stuff.
Oh yeah, and like QuickSwap specifically, now you can take your staked representative, you stake Quick, and then you take your staked representative and you stake that to earn these like syrup rewards.
Oh yeah,
and,
that's
yeah, like the thing is that like the people who are doing well are doing doing amazingly. Like kind of is hard to argue with like, hey, they're giving away free money, know?
But that's the absurdity of all of this. I just watch it and I just keep shaking my head. Like just add another thing onto it to keep incentivizing the shit thing before it. Like, yeah.
Yep. But like people love it. People love it though. Like that's the thing is like I was like, okay, so I like fall like into these like weird states of sleep where I'm like not completely asleep because I am on this weird schedule. and like I woke up today laughing, and like when I was laughing, I was like, because I was thinking like the DEX is just a casino. Like that's all. This is a casino.
Are you a fan of Richard Hart?
Sorry?
Are you a fan of Richard Hart? Because there's been a couple of comments made that you've got the candles in the background. There's a homage to Richard Hart's Candelabra there.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, no, girl. I'm interested to know like if it's not too personal a question, like what your kind of staking strategy was like when you first came to Hex and on your journey, like whether that's changed. Like, are you kind of a ladder person, or like how have you set all yours up?
Yeah, so like my first stake was just the Hex that I got from Unwrecked and then from the contest online, and I like just staked it for 6 months because I really was like uncertain with what was going. I was like, okay, we'll just do it this long. And then after I started to see just the interest earning on like that small short stake, I was like, oh, let's sell everything else and like buy more of this and figure out how, and like now I feel like this is, a common thing for like Hexicans is like my stake ends and then I'm like, but how am I gonna get the T-shares back? And like I haven't really been able to bring myself to sell any because I'm just like, I just got paid, I'm gonna buy some more. and then I'm gonna wait for my next stake to come out so that I can like lump this all together, and then I'll have regretted that I waited because the t-shirt price went. So it's really a lot of game.
Yeah, it's not too bad waiting a little bit.
I've got another personal
the
question
T-share rate
for
doesn't
Nerd
go up
Girl.
too bad.
Okay.
Excluding Hex, Bitcoin, and Ethereum, what is your favorite cryptocurrency? And you don't have to answer. You don't have to answer that.
Okay. So probably Monero, because I still think that there is a utility in privacy by default. Mm-hmm.
Did you hear that they've just introduced atomic cross swaps between Monero and Bitcoin?
Wow.
I didn't, but that's
like trustless, like no admin key.
That makes Monero's like privacy value prop even stronger.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, did they fix that 1 hour bug that reversed their?
But I still think that all of the addresses that were like your privacy was violated for that one, time period. Right?
I think in any privacy coin, it's safer to assume that it's not like that at some point in the future, it could get found out what was going on the network. That's the safer assumption because it's all experimental tech. Yeah. So you're putting yourself in a position that might be slightly better than other coins, but you have to assume that it's not perfect.
Yeah, I was speaking to someone about Monero today because if you're in Australia or you're dealing with an Australian exchange, if they've got one leg in the legacy finance world, then privacy coins are just, you can't send them to the exchange or cash out or sell them off or anything. So we've had a lot of people that I deal with that have got things like Dash, Monero, even I think Horizon, because they all have that privacy element. They're now, they were holding them as an investment sort of speculative play. And now it's come down to the conversation is, well, the only reason you would hold those is because to use one of Richard's terminologies, you're making a political statement. So it's not, you're probably not going to get any better gains being in Monero than you would ETH or something like that. So why would you hold it? Well, you believe in the privacy aspect of it, and that's what you've got to use it for.
You wouldn't even hold it, would you?
Monero just because I don't really exchange it with some other things. Just because it's in a wallet that nobody knows is mine, and I don't want to do too many exchanges with it.
Yeah, Richard makes an amazing point where he says
I'm holding it as a store of value. It's because I'm holding it as like an emergency backup plan.
Okay, yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that atomic thing changes the game, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely.
That does change the game quite a bit.
Is that atomic swap? Is that trustless without any admin keys?
Yep. This is like decent, like peer to peer.
Atomic. Wow. And is it only
that might bring adoption?
Sorry, Blue Bum, say that again.
Is it only between Monero and Bitcoin?
At the moment, yes, but I mean, I assume if then there are atomic cross swaps between Bitcoin and other things, then maybe you can sort of go outside of that. But what I read was just between Monero and Bitcoin.
Wow.
I see a future where there's one with Pulse.
A Monero bridge, yeah.
So what?
Monero Pulse atomic cross swap.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. I have to read up about that Monero Bitcoin bridge.
You can always go Ren Bridge.
Who's this Mama Rock? Pull this up, guys.
While we're on the topic of privacy, I've actually got a pro tip to drop that I was going to do on my own channel, but I just haven't had time to stream recently. A lot of exchanges are now implementing KYC. So you guys might have heard that Binance is basically rolling out KYC. So at some point, they're doing it in a slightly more responsible way than other exchanges have in the past. They're doing it where at the moment, this could change, but at the moment they claim that they will give users warning. So it'll be basically, they'll say, you've got this long to KYC and if you don't want a KYC, then get your funds off the exchange by that cutoff date. But they could change that at any moment and say, now you need to KYC. So back in the day, like Poloniex, Bittrex, and various other exchanges have suddenly implemented KYC onto accounts that were not previously required to KYC. By the way, KYC just stands for Know Your Customer, part of the anti-money laundering rules. And then you end up with a situation where you need to decide. So if you value your privacy and you've been on that exchange for any period of time, you need to basically decide, do I bin the money that I have got on that exchange to maintain my privacy, or do I KYC to these dogs and basically dox myself, and then everything I've ever done on that exchange is now linked to me as a person, right? So what I would recommend, and this is a pro tip, is that for every exchange that you are on that is non-KYC, you remove all your funds, you create a new account with a different email, and put your funds back on. So like that's if you even want to have funds on an exchange. And I think with the pulsechain mainnet coming up, it's probably better to have your own private keys so that your shit gets mirrored, assuming that it's on ETH, right? Assuming it's any sort of ERC20 or Ethereum token. So, but if you really want to have money on that exchange, by removing it and adding it back onto the exchange under a new email, it effectively wipes the history so that if they dog you and enforce KYC suddenly and without warning and with no notice, all they can get you for is the history from the point when you made that transition to when they dog you. They can't go back because some people have been on exchanges that have been non-KYC for years, and then suddenly your entire privacy is under threat from years of trading. Do you guys get what I'm saying? Obviously, we're not doing anything illegal here. This is literally just if you care about your privacy. This is not to do with any sort of illegal transactions, money laundering, terrorism, anything like that. This is literally just if you value your privacy.
So,
fair enough.
So Binance have already tightened up. You used to be able to, on a non-KYC account, withdraw 2 Bitcoin per day.
Yeah,
I think that's down to
it's 0.06.
0.06, is it? Jeepers.
Pretty sure.
Right, so 0.06. So that's a massive change in and of itself. So if you were sitting on an account that now has that limitation and you were a reasonable bag holder, then that's going to take a while to get your crap off of there. And obviously the reason why they're doing this is their exchanges, the big play at the moment for exchanges is to become the next banks. And in order to become those next banks, then they need to play in the legacy system. So they have to go through this process.
But I think they're also under pressure from the SEC and that will be like a test case. And if they bend over for the SEC, then...
Sorry, you cut out for a sec just there, mate. What were you...
I was just saying that I think they got told by the SEC that they have to do that.
Binance.
And then other exchanges will come under fire if they are successful with Binance to follow their rules, then they'll basically start going after other exchanges.
Hey,
we need to assume now that all exchanges will roll and implement KYC.
Yeah. I think if they want to have any leg in the legacy world, they're going to have to, and they all seem to want to do that because that is the big play here. If you can be that bridge between the crypto world and the legacy world, there's money to be made.
Absolutely, big money.
Where can we swap Monero to BTC? It's a question there.
I didn't actually look into how you do it. I can look it up. You guys chat about other stuff, and I'll work it out. But
can I just
but basically
just a quick security, because I've been working quite intensely on operational security, and this is probably something that's relevant to any hexagons or other cryptocurrency people. Your seed phrase, make sure that that's protected. I got this like vault thing you can write it on. It's like a titanium plate. It's called Seed Vault, and there's a website called BradshawKnox.com, and you basically just tap in your seed phrase into this, and then that secures it. You know about that, don't you, Jexa?
Yeah, good on you. Thanks for the plug, mate. Yeah, so go to bradshawknox.com and you can get your seed plates from my website.
I really like enjoying using these. If you got one of these cold storage hardware wallets, there to go as well.
Just with that seed vault thing that you sent me one as well, Jexa. And can I just say that thing is it's very, very sturdy, mate. That is very, very well made.
Yeah, it was a solid package.
Yeah, absolutely. And can I just ask, how much is it?
Aussie dollar wise, I think it's about $76, and you can back up 2 12-word seeds on one pack.
So, but if you've got a 24-word seed, you've got to use 2 plates. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah.
That's about $50 US, isn't it? About $50 US.
Yeah, give or take. Shipping's a bit of a pain at the moment with all the COVID stuff going on. But yeah, I can ship worldwide. I've been sending them all over the place. So
yeah,
it sort of ties in with that Richard Hart stream during the week about he was letting people know how people are losing their money in crypto, and it's a very serious. It's a very, very serious. As the value of the asset increases, you've got to make sure that your level of security is up to speed. So I know that I've been fairly intensely focused on that in the last couple of months at least. So yeah,
the best time to
probably sat on my hands for a little bit too long. Mate.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. The best time to sort out your security is now. Don't wait till your funds are worth a lot.
Don't be complacent, please.
Yeah,
yes.
All right, mofos. I'm going to drop a link in the chat that is the step-by-step guide of how you do atomic cross swaps between Bitcoin and Monero. So just watch out for that. It'll be coming soon.
Hi.
Cool.
Hi everyone. I'm so tired, guys. I'm like falling asleep. How sometimes streams are really long and some streams are really short. So what is the standard here?
You peel out whenever you need to peel out.
You go whenever you want. But
I'm so sorry. I'm
starting
to nod off.
Thank you so much for coming on, Nerd Girl. We really appreciate it.
Great to see you again.
It was my pleasure to come on. I'd love to come on again. Like I'm usually up during your time, so it almost makes more sense for me to stream, in the middle of the night for me, or whatever morning. Anyway, thank you guys all so much for having me on and watching. You're awesome.
Can we build bridges?
Let's build a bridge.
Yeah, let's build bridges. All right, bye everyone.
Awesome. Take care. See you, Nicole.
See ya.
She's good value.
She's great. Yeah. Real asset to the community.
Yeah, Nerd Girl's awesome.
Got any more questions floating around in the?
Hey, I was just thinking to that time when Bitcoin when Bitcoin Cash was going to fork off Bitcoin, and I'm just remembering back to that time, and there was all this conjecture about like whether the exchanges would honor all of their customers with the fork, and at first none of them would, and you had to have your own keys. But then I think one exchange came out, and then another, and it's just and I guess I'm just thinking about it now because we haven't heard anything about whether these exchanges will honor their customers for the pulse airdrop. Hey,
yeah. So if I recall rightly, that was one of the first forks in the whole space, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So I guess that was untested waters. And what's funny is, so you had the Bitcoin Cash fork, and then you had the BSV fork, and I think there'd be a lot less exchanges that support BSV.
I don't remember getting any BSV from having my Bitcoin on an exchange.
I don't know. I'm not even sure how many exchanges you can actually trade with it or send it there. I don't think there's many. Right. So I guess it comes down to how much pressure's put on them in terms of people that want it.
You think this would be a big one though, hey? They'd have tons.
Yeah, look, if people find out that they've got all these free coins, and especially if these free tokens hold some value, there'll be a wave of people. And do they actually?
Well, anyway, the exchanges are getting them. Like,
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
whoever
yeah.
has that address will get those PRC20. And so it's about whether those exchanges will honor giving them to their customers, or whether they'll just keep them for themselves.
Yeah, and maybe it might take a while. So initially, probably not. But then as word gets out, and if things are going well and they're holding value and word's getting filtered out through more of the crypto sphere, then the pressure will be pretty high on them to do something. And I don't even think they would be allowed to dump them, because that would be pretty shocking if they dumped. So they get given these free things and then they dump them without telling their user base. That would be dodgy as shit. So that would be a really bad look. So they'll just sit there. I think they'll sit there dormant.
What project is that?
No, we're just talking about like with the
I don't think centralized exchanges are the bastions of ethics and morality in space. You know.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Hey, you know how we think that Richard's exchange license has been approved, going by the.
Is that true, or
on the stream it was when rather than if?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he said it.
Yeah,
he said it that he applied for the exchange license.
He hasn't said that it's come through though, has he?
No.
I presume it's
he said he applied for it.
Yeah. So do you think the native token on the exchange will be Pulse or something else, another coin?
I think it probably would be. It would make sense to make it.
Yeah, it'd have to be Pulse.
Yeah. You think that would be the right? It'll be like BNB. So they pretty much have a pair with every coin with BNB on their own exchange. So you'd think you would do that with Pulse, but obviously you want all the other coins and stuff on there as well, and want people to be able to freely deposit things wherever they can. So I think there'll still be a lot of pairs with Bitcoin and ETH and things like that as well. But and yeah, that would be pretty cool to see a Pulse pair for everything on there.
For sure. And what about T-Bird's question? Do you think we'll see Pulse on centralized exchanges?
I've done a fair bit of talking. Anyone else want to have a crack at that?
Yes,
I think so.
I think there's a lot of raises some other interesting questions as well, like how an exchange is like a multi-sig wallet. Is that correct? And they just hold the coins. How does it go from the blockchain to the exchange?
They have to buy it, don't
they? Okay.
Or
they just hold it. But how do they use? They just have a multi-sig wallet that has all the user wallets in there or accounts in there or something. Is it?
Well, every exchange is different in how they set up their system.
Do you think any of them sacrificed?
For sure.
Good question. I don't know. Like, there's nothing wrong with the question. There's really nothing. I guess I'm just showing how little I know about.
If I was, you'd think so, hey? If I was an exchange and I was wanting to make money on trading them.
So I reckon if anyone would have sacrificed, it would have been OKX, maybe. Don't know. Maybe even just a little.
Why OKX? Why do you say
probably
that?
I think they were sniffing around. They were sniffing around at one point before, weren't they, in the Telegram group?
Oh yeah.
I think they came in, and I don't know how much they were sniffing around, but if they've got an awareness of it, maybe. Not sure.
Forks are not regulated, so exchanges won't give any forks. You must lobby ATSEC. Guys, send them an email.
What?
Or like that's one thing you could do.
Whoa. I don't agree with that comment.
Just withdraw your funds from the exchange. You should be holding your crypto. Yeah,
you got no excuse if but we're not talking about hexagons here. We're not, because most guys in Hex would be well aware of this. It's the guys that aren't aware that this is actually taking place and are going to get blindsided with it 6 months down the track. They go, hell, what's this Pulse thing? And what? I've got all these. The exchange has kept all my coins, all my tokens. So they're the guys that.
It's amazing how behind they seem to be, like if you go on like social media platforms, say for example Facebook, and I've got because I'm like in an Australian exchange called CoinSpot. Most people, if you're an Australian, would would have heard of it. It's kind of like a noob, or it's kind of an user friendly.
It's a noob exchange for sure.
Yeah, and they've got like Facebook groups, and they just got no idea. Like the comments are like, they're coming in and saying, I got a couple of million, or I got like $10,000. I want to invest which coin, and they're asking Facebook group where to put their money, and it's like, well, why don't you just go down to the casino, bet it all on black? I mean, it's the same thing.
Yeah,
betting it all on black is a much better bet.
Yeah, that's much better odds.
Yeah, that is like a half decent bet.
Crazy.
Exchanges.
Because I mean, look at the top 20. You look at the top 20 coins, and there's nothing in there that's interesting except for Hex, and maybe Bitcoin. I don't know.
You wouldn't
I'm really into Hex.
Thing on Facebook like that. When they ask those questions about X amount of money, what I put in. As soon as you mention Hex or Pulse, you just get hammered.
Yeah, it's not as bad as it used to be though. It's not as bad as it used to be. You used to get shills from other coins that would come in and just attack you. If you mentioned Hex, no.
Yeah.
Like I mean, it's almost like it gets beaten out of you to try and help people, because you think you go in there, you're like, well, if I tell them this, I'm going to get attacked. Do I bother?
Hey, Unwrecked. I've been hearing this weird noise the whole stream, and I've just worked out what it is.
Like a crunching sound.
It's actually your microphone scraping against the hairs on your neck, and it's like this kind of
like the maracas. It sounds like the maracas.
Righto. Well, on that
note, you've got some. What are you doing, mate?
Yeah.
You got some gardening to do.
Yes.
I've got to
go mow the lawn.
Bit of organic.
I'm working on the Land Rover down the back. I'm just still fiddling with the electricals. Got to get that sorted out. And
definitely fiddling with something, mate.
Okay. Well, it's good to see you, everyone. And I was sorry I missed last week as well. I had personal issues last week, but it's good to be back and good to be see you all. And it was good to let you can continue. It's been awesome watching you guys. I love being a fly on the streams
for a bit.
43 minutes. Are you going to have control?
Yep.
Because there's one more chart that I didn't show before. This will take 2 seconds. It's just the cryptocurrency market cap excluding Bitcoin. If you just share my screen, this thing has just been in a relentless uptrend for 6 weeks now. So
what's this?
And I didn't count candles. I just went to the weekly chart and just looked at how many. So there's like 6 weeks there. But on the daily, I've been watching this ascending channel for a really long, like basically, or pretty much since it broke out, since we broke out of this downtrend.
Holy shit!
So this is total market cap including Bitcoin.
No. So this is the total market cap excluding Bitcoin. It's like altcoin market cap.
Yep.
But obviously, when you include Bitcoin, it's pretty similar. Like you still see this relentless uptrend, but this gives you an idea of the altcoin market, and this has just been on a relentless uptrend. So we are definitely bullish overall. The overall market is bullish. That's all I was really going to comment to do with this particular chart here. But I forgot to do it before. I was trying to, because we had a guest that we haven't had on before. I just wanted to sort of like get through the TA quickly, just in case. We probably should have pressured Nerd Girl to do like more of a sign off where she shouts out anyone she wants to shout out and that sort of thing. But if she was tired and wanted to bail, that's fine too.
Yeah, that's true.
We
still have a lot to learn as hosts.
You seem to have a lot in common with Nerd Girl, Tangent. You should do a stream.
Me?
Fun, yeah.
Oh, okay.
She's always.
I wasn't aware of that. Or do you mean in terms of like opinions?
Oh, well, yeah, just, I think you could talk shop and you seem to, get along really well. And she's always looking for guests for her show. You should, go on the Building Bridges and,
Oh, I would obviously be keen, but yeah.
Yeah.
Building a bridge to the same side of the river.
Yeah, that's
like it's just saying.
So a bridge with a roundabout.
Does she interview people with lower follower counts though?
Sometimes she says who's up for a chat, anyone come in, because as she said, sometimes she gets people cancel or things like that,
Yeah. Well, I guess maybe I can invite her to be on my channel so that it doesn't sound like I'm just clout chasing and trying to get in front of her viewers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yep. Hey, I know of at least one Australian exchange that has Hex in one of their wallets.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. BTC Markets.
But they've got like 400 Hex in their wallet.
Yeah, earlier today, I got a call from my bro. He had sent Hex to BTC Markets.
Oh no!
Oh, so it was an accident.
No, he was trying to sell his Hex, so it served him right.
So he's lost it. They won't send it back to him.
No, they were pretty good about it. So they're going to send it back to his address.
While I've still got screen share,
so I had to talk him down off the ledge and find out why he was trying to sell it.
Why was he trying to sell it?
Oh, he was buying some stuff.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine.
No, but he's got a heap of BHP shares. I said, why are you selling your bloody Hex, idiot? That's another story.
That rotation of people in and out of Hex does help for the user base to be more diverse and for the wealth to be more evenly distributed, right? Like if every OG held onto every coin that they've ever had, then you would have these wallets or you'd have these people that are heavy Hex holders. So people going to buy shit helps to get that redistribution.
Yeah, that's it. That's what's going to happen over time. That's a normal part of how coins get out into the wild.
Hey, did anyone catch Wales Only's stream today?
I didn't.
I didn't. No. That was a good one. He
was on his channel.
On his channel, he was talking about like share rate and just staking, and it was good. It was just good to hear him talking about it. I mean, things that we've known we've known a lot of this stuff for many months, but it's just good to hear that coming out of someone else's mouth, And he was just talking about how he just went so heavy, so long, with his stakes that like now he's thinking, what am I like? I'm not going to have anything. If I want to just keep staking 15-year stakes, what am I going to like? Cause that's like how he approaches it. It's like 15-year stake. That is how you get like the best. That's how you get the best deal in terms of.
But is he just all 15-year stakes? Like you've got to have some that are shorter, right?
I think that now he's like wanting to do some shorter ones or something. Yeah, I think so. I'll
admit a mistake that I made.
Can you move me? I just look like a talking logo.
Oh, no, that's awesome. You got the Hex logo and you are Hex. We are
Hex
also
man.
Satoshi. You're the Hex. You're the Hex.
Hey, Hex man.
I'll admit to you guys a mistake that I made was that I when I heard that pulsechain was coming out, I decided I was not going to stake any more Hex on ETH because of the like ridiculous fees to end the stakes.
Yep.
So I was like, I'm just gonna like end any stakes that end, but not restake anything, and then I'll basically reassess my strategy once Pulse comes out and maybe have different strategies on each chain, like longer stakes on the ETH chain and then long and short stakes on the Pulse chain was generally what I was thinking. And now looking back on it, I really wish that I had staked because I've just been holding a fair percentage of liquid that could have been earning quite decent yield. And
let's do some maths.
Everyone's just figuring that out. And
let's do some maths, guys.
I could have estimated how long I thought it would take for Hex to come for Pulse mainnet to come out. Yep. Made a reasonable estimate of that. Then obviously subtracted a little bit for contingency, and then just made one big stake for that kind of duration. And now I'd just be laughing. And so I've got this Telegram bot. Like, sorry, it's not my bot. Like, as in, I follow this Telegram bot. You guys are probably aware of it. It's like Hex. It's like Hex. It's like a Hex monitoring bot. You guys know it?
Yeah, I've seen it the other day. Yeah.
And so I've basically changed mine so that it literally just tells me when people stake. It's Hex Win Bot, all in one word, Hex Winbot.
Yeah.
And so the only thing I have turned on is new stakes. And you see these mofos just coming in and dropping like millions of, like hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars into like 14-day stakes, 30-day stakes, year stake. Like, you know, I think there is a minimum cutoff so that it's not just getting flooded with new stakes. I think it might be like 500,000 hex. I think it appears to me, based on just what I've seen, that anything below 500,000 hex does not make it into the bot notification. Mm-hmm. But it's just giving me major FOMO, man, because it's just, this shit's just relentless with people staking. And even the ones that are shorter, like say sub-month, they're getting like hundreds of T-shares and basically just printing money every day for that duration between now and when Pulse launches.
Yep. So I think that same realization has come to a lot of people, and you've got to work it out. So at what point does it become not economical to do it? And I think I done some numbers today, and if you're doing a short stake of about 30 days, I think you need to be putting in, like if you do 30,000 hex, you pretty much break even in terms of fees, I think.
Yeah, because it's the fees, right? That you have to factor that in, what it's going to cost you in fees to start it and end it.
Yeah, so if you're assuming an in and out cost of about $50, so maybe $14 odd to stake and 14, 15 to end stake, obviously that'll fluctuate based on cost. So if you allow about $50, you want to be making more than that for your 30-day stake. But the kicker is you pay that fee in ETH. And this is where I got really caught out early on.
Yeah. So you can think about it like you're just buying Hex. If it ends up being break even, it's just like you've bought some more Hex.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. So I was leaving a lot liquid earlier on, and then down the track you realize how much you've left on the table, because at that point in time, fees were high, Hex wasn't worth much. That's changed completely now. So you don't want to be leaving stuff liquid if you can help it. If you're not planning to sell it,
I got to a point where my liquid stack, I was like, there's absolutely no way that any situation would cause me to want to sell this much Hex.
That's
so
right.
I might as well have it locked. Like I might as well have the part that I'm not going to sell anyway locked up. So that was definitely a mistake.
Yeah. If you're not going to use it, stake it, and because those Hex that you earn. Those Hex that you earn will become quite valuable in time. A lot more valuable than the $50. Yeah.
Hey guys, I'm going to head off now. I'm got to get up early. Going to go whale watching tomorrow.
You want to do final shout outs, Blue Bum? You got anyone to shout out? Anyone we want to say hi to? Any words of wisdom you want to drop on everyone?
No, man. Everyone just keep on kicking on. I think we're all just like heading down the old, golden road, the yellow brick road, and thanks to Nurgo for coming on, and that was awesome. We'll see you all next time. Thanks a lot for having me on. I'm gonna go check out some whales. I'll bring us some good whale energy.
Cool.
See you, mate. Take it easy.
Is that going to be your spirit animal?
Yeah. Tomorrow it is. I'm gonna get some good whale energy tomorrow. See you guys.
See ya. Take it easy.
Can I admit to you guys one more mistake that I'm not a mistake, but something that I was going to tweet on Twitter early, like last week, like during last week, saying, tagging all of you guys in it and saying, I think it's pretty safe for us to preemptively name this stream the 20-cent stream. And I never did it. I just ran out of time. I never did it. And so it's lucky that I didn't, but I want to admit that I did think that. I thought we would be at 20 cents by this stream. And obviously we're not.
I think once we get through the sort of 19-cent range, we're going to move pretty quick.
Yeah. Because that'll be back to new all-time highs again, right?
Yeah, I was just looking at Matcher and not Matcher, it's Metric, just seeing the orders placed there and seeing the targeted liquidity sitting there. I think there's a few people that want to help distribute their coins around by the looks of it. So once they've finished doing that,
I wouldn't be surprised if we touch like 16, 15 again. I'm not saying I'm waiting or hoping for that, but
but so this is what
surprise me.
So what Tangents said a moment ago. So he said there's a buy wall and a sell wall in the liquidity that's also reflective in the metric orders as well. So there's a lot of people sitting there with orders at the 17 high 16 low 17 mark. So we're sort of just bouncing around in this channel, and that's what you can see on the chart. It's this wedge that's getting like a symmetric triangle that's getting narrower and narrower. So yeah, when it goes, it'll probably go, and we'll break through a few of those sell walls, and off you go.
I cannot wait.
So what do you guys reckon is the minimum for a couple of weeks? Like, what's the worthwhile stake for a couple of weeks?
Yeah, I reckon you're up around the 100K hex, to be honest.
Oh, so you're saying if you're only going in for 14-day.
So for 100K hex, you're going to get like 5 point something T-shares for 14 days.
I had it all up before. I can quickly do it. Yeah, I had Hex Calc up. Hang on, let me just. So
we don't need Hex Calc, mate.
You're gonna.
Mate, OGs don't need Hex Calc. We can just work it out on there.
I'll just mention that on my channel, I was talking about how there are 3 different prices for T-shares that you can consider, right? There's the price that you bought in at, then there's the price that the T-shares are currently worth, and then there's the current value of the hex that you have tied up in T-shares. They're 3 different prices. And then someone on my channel commented there's actually a 4th one, is if you bought the hex and didn't stake it straight away, and then later you staked it, then there's like, do you use the price that you bought it at, or do you use the price at the time that you staked it? So it's basically like sort of 4 prices that you could consider for what your T-shares either cost or are worth or are currently tying up of your economic energy.
It would have to be when you stake it.
And if you want to make that assumption, then for anyone who bought Hex early, then you can basically stake any amount for any amount of time and it's a win, right? because if you got in early enough that the price was low. So it's quite complex how you choose to think about it, and it's different for everyone. Whether you want to choose to use the price that you bought the hex at or what it's worth now. I mean, what did you say at the time that you stake? Yeah, I think I agree with that. For me personally, that's how the calculation. That's your opportunity cost, right?
But like that's the calculation. How the contract calculates. Like, it's gonna look at that when you stake it.
But the contract's looking at it in terms of in number of hex, whereas I'm saying if you're looking at dollar value.
Okay.
Yep.
So
you're considering, because when people were complaining about yield and they were saying, "Oh, this isn't actually that good compared to other stuff on this other DeFi stuff. I can go and put this thing in and get like blah 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 APY, and Hex is only X percentage." I mean, one, that's an argument for why lower yield is typically more legitimate. It's like less because of the whole, if it's too good to be true, it usually is not true. But then even the reason for that change is because of the fact that now the price of Hex is quite high. Well, relatively. The price of T-shares is quite high.
There was a terminology used in that Medium article. What was it called? Liquidity locusts. So that's when I think about liquidity yield farming and all that, I think about that makes sort of fits in with that. It's like that sort of, it's liquidity locusts. They'll just go wherever they'll just go wherever they can find. And I think it's worth like really making the distinction between what Hex is and what that is. Because Hex to me is like, you need to be a lot more, you're sort of planning for the future. You're making longer term plans. Whereas, you know, with that yield farming, it seems like you're just flying by the seat of your pants.
Yeah,
100%. That's a really good point.
Yeah, the yield farming is musical chairs. You've got to get in, get the yield
you're
weights
just
high,
chasing the highest yield at the time. Yeah.
Yeah, and Hex is
Whereas
a
Hex, you need to make a
game.
commitment.
Yeah, and that's why it works better over time. These other ones work less well over time. They're the opposite. Sorry, someone just brought up. So Stephen he asked me to just cover the question we were talking about with the short stake. So if we can just finish up on that.
Yeah.
So first of all, I've done the calcs on hexcalc.net, and 100,000 Hex stake for 14 days at current price will get you an interest in dollar terms of $77. So that's right on the cusp of entry and exit fees. It's probably not. I don't know if I'd be going and doing that.
Not worth it.
Yeah. Obviously, if you stretch it out to 30 days, then it's benefit. If you're not going to sell it, if you're not going to sell it, then you might as well just stake it if you're going to get that extra Hex, because in time it might be worth more.
Can I just jump in quickly?
Yeah.
And when I say it's not worth it on ETH, it's not worth it on ETH. It will be worth it on PHEX.
So not even worrying about Pulse. This is just, okay, what do we do between now and Pulse launch? So if you were keeping your Hex liquid because you want to have different strategies on the different chains or whatever you want to do, but you don't want to leave it sitting there lazy in this period between now and launch, then what do you need to do these short stakes to at least engage that, but not lose your flexibility?
What's the shortest? Like, when do we think the earliest we could see a launch? Yeah, that's the question, isn't it?
Okay, so based on what we heard Richard say, I think we're a good 1.5 to 2 months away at least.
At least a month, because he said that when testnet launches, it's that he needs to give at least a month for devs of projects to see, to learn and interact with the testnet. So if the testnet hasn't launched yet, it means we've got at least a month. So minimum 1 month.
Yep.
I think we could. I think 6 weeks. Over 6 weeks.
I think that would be quite reasonable. Yeah.
So if you're sort of banking on around that 45-day range, I think you're pretty safe. 45 to 60 days. I don't think you can have too many dramas. What's the worst that can happen is you've got a stake that comes out you mistime it and you staked during the fork, then you've just got to wait that period until you can get access to the chain and end the stake. And I don't think that's going to be that much of a risk.
And the other thing I'm just thinking, specifically to do with how this question's worded, it doesn't actually matter if the stake, because remember that because everything gets mirrored, stakes and liquid, if the stake, it's actually not that detrimental if the stake is still active when the fork occurs, because ending it on the other chain is going to be cheap as, right? Like ending on Pulse is going to be basically free. So you're only really incurring the cost. And that cost of ending on each chain is going to occur whether you end it before the mainnet Pulse or after. So
it's not the cost that's the issue; it's penalties.
It's
if you get caught mid stake, and there's a delay, and there's a delay on Pulse chain, then you could, let's just say something goes pear shaped, and you've got a stake that's locked on Pulse chain for more than 14 days.
Yeah,
then you get penalties. But the likelihood of that happening, I think once the fork's ready to go, they'll know that it's all tested and it'll be at this block height. We go to mainnet, and you should be pretty right. I think the risk is pretty small.
Just on the Pulse chain side of things, and just in preparation for that fork, I think it would be prudent, it would be wise for people, if they've got like their addresses where they have their stakes, to move any ETH. You've probably got a little bit of ETH in there for transactions, to actually move that out of that address into some other address that has no stakes on it for the fork. And then once the fork happens, you actually move it back into that address, so that there's no risk of it being penalized in future, because all the ETH the ETH that you get a Pulse copy of on the Pulse side if you don't move it out within 30 days, it's going to get taken out. And that might actually be ongoing. Like if you ever put it back in, it might get taken out.
No, I think it's just there'll be like a date where if it's there on that date, it'll get withdrawn. And then after that, then you're safe. Then you never
I don't know, man. I don't know.
I assumed it was like that. Otherwise, if it's kind of like a constant threat to you having Pulse in that address, I think that would be pretty shit. Like it would mean that you would never be able to hold Pulse in that address ever again for fear
once it takes
withdrawn out at some random time.
Once it takes out that amount, that amount that you actually got, once it takes that.
I think it'll just be like a one time. There'll be this cutoff date. It's really the point of it is to get rid of non-believers, right? Like it's to get rid of anyone out of the network who just was like apathetical and didn't know what was going on or didn't care or just didn't, you know.
I don't remember. I don't know why I've come to this.
You think that there'll be a threat of you getting your Pulse, your free airdropped Pulse stolen at multiple points in the
not
future?
Stolen. Not stolen.
Well, sorry, retracted.
I think there will be code. There will be code that wants to take back that Pulse unless you move it out of that address. And I think that code might stay active. I could be wrong, but it might. So a safe way to get around that, just easy, safe way to get around it is just
not use that.
Just not have any Ethereum in the address where you want to have Ethereum not having any Ethereum in the address where you in future want to have Pulse. So if you've got staked addresses,
I just think that would cause an absolute headache of complaints.
Yeah,
like
it won't happen.
People would be screaming bloody murder if they did the effort of moving the shit out and then at some point later they've got Pulse in that address and then it just disappears. They would just be absolutely like frantic. And I don't think Richard wants to deal with those kinds of headaches, man. Like I think it's in my opinion, it has to just be a one-time thing. That it's just
But how does the blockchain? But how does the blockchain like? The code would have to specify a block height or something. How will the code know? How will the code know?
Well, you're going to have to fork the chain, aren't you?
What I'm saying, there's a 30-day period.
Yeah.
Someone's got to pay for it, right?
There's a 30-day period, right? And
I think it's just a bot. It would just be a bot that they set up that does it.
Anyway, that's what I'm going to do because I don't want to fuck around with any of this shit.
Day 43 is right. Day 43 is right that if you want to be absolutely certain that you cannot get your Pulse retracted, then that would be the safe way to do it. That's the Rolls-Royce solution. That means you absolutely will not get screwed. And then you don't have to do what if shit. You're just protected no matter what.
Because when the fork happens and I get there's the Pulse on that side, then the account that the Pulse is in, I'm never going to ever be using again. I'll just move it out into the actual account where I want it to be, and then I don't have to worry about that account and never ever use that again. So it's not. And yeah, you're right in saying like this is just me being super like hyper careful. Yeah, super careful.
Hopefully Richard will actually clarify that. If he clarifies that. Something interesting that he did mention. Oh, sorry, you go, Sammy.
Sorry, just as I said in the comment, unless you got a shitload of ETH, it's going to be a minuscule airdrop, right? And if it happens to someone, they're going to bring it out in the community and they're going to fix the issue. I don't see it to be a problem.
Yeah, you are right that this is compared to anyone that sacrificed, the amount that you're going to get is going to be tiny anyway, so it's probably not that big a deal. But did you guys hear Richard say in a recent interview or Richard's recent stream that someone asked the question, what about if the Pulse that is to be retracted is actually staked in a validator node or delegated to a stake? Delegated to a validator node. Would that still be retracted. And he actually said, I don't know, I need to talk to the devs. Because I think the way that he would want to do it is because remember the overarching aim. He's trying to penalize people who are not showing their enthusiasm towards the network. So if you have staked, delegated a stake, or moved the coins, then you have shown that you are an active network participant. And in each of those cases, I think he would want the structure to be that you don't get your pulse retracted. So, but he said he has to basically talk to the devs, work out what would happen in that scenario. So I think, some of this stuff is not pinned down yet, and we would hope that he would announce it so that we know exactly where we stand and exactly what we need to do before the mainnet actually launches.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. There's still like, we don't know very, very much about like the details yet. I can't wait for these things to come out.
What I do know, there is going to be an absolute buttload of opportunities. If you pay attention and you're in the know what's going on, there's going to be so much money.
It is going to be an absolute sandbox of like playground of opportunities. 100%.
Yep.
I'm personally going to be jumping onto anything that is Richard Hart approved. Am I allowed to say that? Yeah, fuck it. So if he's like, oh, this is kind of the version of Uniswap that I think will work best on Pulse, I'm in. I'm all in. I'm just going to be anything that becomes like a sort of an official project on Pulse. I'm going to be all in on that.
Same. Hey, can I?
Hang on. Sorry, I just want to. Oh, sorry, you go, Sammy.
Yeah, I'm just wanting to say that the troll that's making fun of me, you're a loser, and anytime jump on here because I'd love to have a chat with you. Sorry, guys.
Is there a troll that wants to come on? They can come on.
Oh,
no, he doesn't. He'd be too gutless to come on. He, she, whoever it is.
He's a coward.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what are we going to?
Yeah, so I just want to cover. Can you put up Stephen's comment?
Yep.
I've been testing days staked between 1 and 28 and have found that you make more staking for 1 day instead of 7, 14, 28 days. Probably even taking into account the fees. I can't see how that's possible. How could you possibly make more staking for 1 day? You get the same daily payout on each, well, give or take, but unless you picked a day, like you picked a day where there was a big...
Maybe we're not understanding something.
Yeah.
Did he say 1 million hex?
I'm really unimpressed.
Yeah.
I'm really unimpressed by this piece of shit. And like, they belong in the fiat world. They belong, like, losers like this belong in the fiat world. They don't deserve crypto. Like, legit. That troll that you guys were talking about.
Oh yeah.
Not Stephen. Not you, Stephen, bro.
No, sorry. Yeah. No. Whoa, yeah.
I'm just like, you're going pretty hard on this, dude. I mean, this question is like,
wow,
the question is sort of,
Thank you for clarifying that, Dave 43. Yeah. Go back to the fiat world, troll. Like, you deserve the corrupt fiat world, and you're not welcome here.
Exactly.
Yeah. I can't see how this would. Yeah, it's all right. So we can work this out. I tested for 1 million hex. So 1 million hex is going to get you 162 T shares if you stake for 10 years.
Yep.
But if you stake for 1 day or whatever, the minimum is going to be, what is it? It's going to be 54.
54
it's going to be
T-shares.
54 T-shares. So 54 T-shares times, let's just say 50 T-shares, and let's just say times 6, right?
Yeah, you use 6, for sure.
All right, 50 T-shares times 6 is going to be about 300.
18 cents.
That
would be break even on fees, roughly, I think.
Right.
So if you're kind of throwing that kind of number of hex around, then
300
you don't
t-shirts.
really have a minimum duration. You can mess with like a few days. Maybe not one day. Like one day might be cutting it fine and breaking even, but as soon as you go 2 or more days, you'd be sweet.
So you're looking at about 300 hex per day. For every additional day that you've staked, you're going to get an extra 300-ish hex. So the difference between 1 day and 28 days should be the difference between, or let's just say 30 days, should be the difference between 300 hex and what is it, 9,000 hex should be the difference. So definitely 30 days is, what would that be? That's about 1,000. So 30 days is like for 1 million hex, which is 17 grand. It's not bad. You think about it. It's not quite 10%.
Sorry, day 43. Discourse is asking you to check Telegram.
Oh yeah,
we're about to get kicked off, are we?
We're about to get kicked off.
Oh shit.
Let me just check. Yep, no worries. Guys, really important stream with Kinetics. He is going to be on stream with Congresswoman Cynthia McKinney. So guys, stick around for that. That's going to be fantastic. We're going to head off. Have a good night, everyone. Sorry, we're gonna ditch out quick, but before we do, Tangent, can you give us? Do you have any socials or anything you want to put out there?
I guess just my YouTube channel, Hex Tangent, and that's about it, really. Oh, and YouTube, I think I'm at Emmanuel_crypto. If you guys are keen, but no pressure.
Mm-hmm.
How about you guys?
Jackson?
Yeah, you can find most of my stuff at hexsafe.win. And if you from there you can link to bradshawknox.com if you want those seed plates or anything like that. Or just if you want some good security information, go to hexsafe.win.
Sammy, you're on Twitter.
Yeah, Sammy Chica on Twitter, and we've got Ladies Discourse coming up on Friday at 5 p.m. California time. See you there.
And you can find me anywhere and everywhere. We will see you next week, guys.
I'm all over this bitch.
See you guys.
We run these streets.
See you later. All right. Cheers, guys. Thanks
everyone.
Cheers.